Hello, welcome back to the library. We need some retail therapy. So, unless you've been hiding under a rock, the world's kind of in a weird state right now. Kind of on fire, sometimes literally. So, I wanted this episode to just relax, kick back, and do what we're supposed to do, be consumers. Now, obviously, things have gotten really expensive lately, especially on the eBay front. So I thought we would take this time to have a very good retail therapy session buying a whole bunch of rare games for pennies on the dollar legally. For this to work, you're going to need three things: a bunch of currency on your PlayStation Store account, a PlayStation 3 or PSP, and your login credentials. Here's how it's going to work. First things first, for my shopping spree example, we're going to do about $200 in PlayStation currency. You can go to your browser or your PlayStation 4 or 5, stock up, and then hook up your PlayStation 3. Once you have that and you're in the PlayStation 3, it turns out the sorter on the PlayStation 3 store is broken. If you try and actually go to like game type, genre, PS1, only 11 games show up. But thanks to a member of my Discord, I discovered that if you do a search manually, you can find almost the entire PS1 original library, almost 200 games on PSN still. So, with that in mind, there's three ways you can find games. One is to search individually. Two is to do a search for PS1 spelled out. And for those, if those don't work, do a search for PS3 space PSP, because a lot of the PS1 games have that in their title. So, with all that knowledge ahead of you, let's go shopping for some expensive games that are now pennies on the dollar. First up, we're going to do this in financial order, starting with a $60 game called Metal Slug X, one of the best Neo Geo games ever released. It's essentially a hybrid of 1 and 2 remixed and mashed back together with crazy different boss fights. They've put in characters in different spots and added different things to the stages. It's so funny and it's so much fun. And the PlayStation 1 version is actually pretty darn good. Much better than the original Metal Slug that one that we never got in America, but Japan got. In the $80 range, we can pick up Toomba 1 for like $6 to $10. A fantastic 2.5D game that recently got re-released in a high-res remaster, but sometimes you just want the original. Right above that, for the same price point, is Mega Man Legends. Now, Mega Man Legends is a really good game, and I love the graphic style, but the control mechanism might be hit or miss based on your preference. You don't really move in 3D, you kind of rotate in 4 to 8 cardinal directions. So once you get past that, it's a really good game. Moving up to the $100 is Toomba 2, Strider 2, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and then Dino Crisis 2. All four of these games are incredible. Toomba 2 is actually honestly the sequel. In Strider 2, you actually get both Strider 2 and the original Strider 1 from the arcade Genesis days. I don't know if they ever fixed it, but I'm almost positive when I bought my copy, it was still flipped. So like if you wanted to play Strider 1, you have to pick Strider 2 and vice versa. Castlevania Symphony of the Night needs no introduction. It's phenomenal. Dino Crisis 2, I know, is a hit and miss with some people because it was more arcadey compared to the slow pace of the original, since it was a spiritual sequel to Resident Evil, per se, as far as gameplay is concerned. But there's so much you can do in that game as far as unlocking weapons and, time trials and so forth. It makes it worth it. Moving up to the next tier is for $125 saved is Alundra. My baby. If you're a Zelda fan, you will get an absolute kick out of this. It plays just like the old school NES Zeldas or even the Super Nintendo Zelda. The difficulty spikes are there. So full warning, you will throw a controller or two jumping certain platforms. But it's really beautiful. I love the graphics. The sprite artwork was fantastic. Coming at the $150 saved is Ark the Lad Collection. Now this is where it gets a little weird. On PlayStation Network, They split up all the games individually, so you'd have to buy Arc 1, 2, 3, and the Monster game. However, there was a combo deal where you could save an extra $2 by buying 2 and Monster together. So not only are you saving money off the physical, we're now saving money off the digital as well. What is nice is, as I've mentioned before in my Arcalad 1 review, if you buy all 4, you can transfer save data to each next game. In the numbered ones, you unlock returning characters, some items, a couple levels here and there. But then monsters you collect in 2 and items can be traded and used in monster, like kind of like a Monster Rancher type environment. It's kind of cool. Moving up to the $150 brackets, Mega Man Legends 2 and Vanguard Bandits. Now, obviously, Mega Man Legends 2 is the sequel, no biggie there. Vanguard Bandits was a turn-based strategy game from Working Designs that features these really cool, like, mech designs, but they have more of like a human physique to them. Like they look like like popes and Indians and all that cool stuff. Little rough around some of the edges, but it's still a worthy strategy RPG game. Moving up to the $200 range, Silent Hill. I love this game. I don't know why it's going for $200 right now, but absolutely brilliant Konami game. It's still one of the best environments, especially if you play with the lights out. It's so good. It's one of the few games where you appreciate the fog rather than making fun of it. Next up into the $300 saved is Shadow Tower. Shadow Tower plays off the Kingsfield engine, and it is essentially the PlayStation's first-person view version of, say, Dark Souls or Demon Souls. You will get your ass beat. You will get your ass beat. But it's an adventure. Have at it. Now, oddly enough, in our next one, getting up to the $400 saved is Persona 2. For some reason, Persona 1 wasn't on the PSN store, but Persona 2 is a really, really good RPG, and I don't think you needed to play the first one to enjoy the second one. I'm not sure. I never got through the first one. Next up in the granddaddy areas of financial ruin is the $400 Klonoa. This is my baby. Like, this was one of the first PlayStation games I ever 100%ed because it was just that addictive. The gameplay is so well done. The character is just perfectly cute. The puzzle elements are fantastic. And obviously it has been re-released multiple times. There's a remaster of it that's on PlayStation 5 that I bought. But sometimes for $6 to $10, you can go the original route. Coming in at $500 is our model kit of Tron Bon. It is the side sequel to the Mega Man Legend game, and it is one of the most in-demand games. I still have my physical copy that I bought for $5 when no one called it a hidden gem, but now you can buy it here for $10. It's all good. And as a bonus, with our money left over from the $200 we started with, we can pick up 2 import spaceship shooting games. The first is Gaia Seed, which normally goes for $400. It's not bad. It has its problems, but if you're looking for like an old school side-scrolling, almost Genesis with PlayStation effects type shooter, it's actually pretty good. Otherwise, there's Xanac, Cross Xanac, which is based on an old arcade and NES game, but now with new graphics and so forth. Really addictive, really good. Its physical import usually goes for about $150. Here it's $10 or less. And there you have it, guys. $3,500 worth of rare physical PlayStation games we just bought for $200 legally. You're supporting the developers, you're supporting the publishers, and let's be honest. If every one of my average account viewers, which is usually about $350, only spend $10 each to buy something, that's $3,500 back in the hands of the publishers and possibly the developers. Sometimes you need to speak with your wallet, and with knowing how well certain things are going and how poorly other things are going, AAA games. You can imagine the surprise if one day Capcom just went to look at their financial report and doesn't understand how 300 people bought Tron Bon on PSN all at the same time. It might trigger them to re-release the series. You never know. Talk with your money. Enjoy your retail therapy, guys. As I said, this was just buying all the super expensive physical ones. You can still find Crash Bandicoots, Final Fantasies, Twisted Metals, Jet Motos. A ton of good games are on there. There were only a few that seemed to be permanently missing, which would have been the Namco museums, Jet Moto 3, and there was one other one I knew for sure wasn't on there. But have at it, save some money, play the games, enjoy it. There's at least 1,000 hours just in the titles I gave you here. With that, I'll see you next episode. Be safe, and hopefully things will start turning for the better. Take care, you guys.